I want to die. I can't even joke at the beginning of the episode. Like this is the worst.
This is a travesty. I actually meant, you mentioned in text, I said that the only question about this is not even much of a question, is this the worst film that we've ever covered on two middle-aged geeks on film, or even back when it was too mediocre white geeks on film? I think the answer is yes.
I will definitively say up front, to the shock of no one, this is easily far and away the worst film we have ever covered, and it may continue to be the worst film we've ever talked about. I don't know.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, a masterpiece.
Comparatively.
Annabelle Creation, is that the one we didn't like?
No, Annabelle. Just Annabelle.
Original Annabelle, that's right. Annabelle, the original Annabelle. That's
just Annabelle. Annabelle, the movie that made me like want to burn things down.
Right. That's right. That's what it is. Yep. That was a bad, yeah.
And here's the thing.
Halloween Resurrection. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's just throw it out there.
Here's the thing. This movie is so bad.
It's not even fun.
I don't want to talk about it. Like it's not fun. Like at least with the other movies, I had feelings. There were things I could talk about. I've like at least it angered me.
Right. It got some kind of emotion out of you. This is just pure.
I have nothing, Paul.
Pure.
Paul, I have nothing.
You actually, literally, I'm gonna throw you, sort of throw you under the bus. You even texted me last night, like, do we have to do this one?
Yeah.
Can I not show up for this one? Yes, you have to show up for it.
I really thought about just sitting here and like not saying anything the entire episode and let you talk, and then just sign off.
It's so bad that we didn't even begin with our usual half-hour banter. Like we didn't even bad. We're just sitting here in shock of like how awful this movie is, and it's bad. It's shameful. It deserves to be embarrassed. It deserves to be ashamed of itself. And this is not coming from us.
Yeah.
Like this is not a red eye podcast. We don't usually make the thumbnails with the red eyes and the laser beam, and it doesn't.
We don't really deal in hyperbole.
We're not hatred. We try to find positives, even on Superman 3, which we did lambaste, but we still found stuff to love. We still 5 out of 11. I think we graded it, and even had some people in our comments trying to defend it more. It was their introduction to Christopher Reeve Superman. I'm like,
right,
it's wonderful, and I get that. I mean, I'm happy for them, and I would agree. It's like there is some stuff that we really love. We did love Annette O'Toole, Lana Lang. We thought that Christopher Reeve and that had some great chemistry. We did love the junkyard scene. We did like some moments in there that showed Christopher Reeve being innocent and really kind of shining through. We had those highlights. I got nothing to talk about in this one.
No, and that is the problem, man. Like I legitimately got nothing. I was texting you and our friend Rachel at the same time as this was happening, and I genuinely, I haven't seen this movie in 20 years probably until last night. There's a reason I don't go back and watch it. Like even as a kid, I didn't like this movie. I probably hadn't seen it since I was in high school.
I had seen it a couple years ago, probably the last 5 years ago, because I did a Superman run when I was letterboxing it. So I did a whole Superman run. And I actually literally I think I blocked out of my mind how bad it was, because I didn't remember it being this bad. And I look back and I graded it just the same. I graded it piss poor. But
it's one of those movies that it's almost impossible to forget how bad it is, but it's also so bad that it is also that forgettable. Yeah. And that's
a sin.
Yeah. And look, man, it sucks because the truth of the matter is like Chris Reeves really believed in this movie. When they pitched it, he came up with the story. Like, I'm going to just kind of dive into that stuff. The Canon Films Group ended up coming on to produce the movie.
Yeah.
And pretty much stabbed him in the back. They were so underwater at that point, and that they were hemorrhaging money. So they were cutting their cost on just about everything around them, and that included this film.
We were
which
going on
make
and on about the Salkins, like how bad
yeah,
they had f things up. They had screwed up the relationships with Gene Hackman, with Margot Kidder, with Christopher Reeve, with obviously Marlon Brando, and they had screwed up and gotten worse and worse. And that led to Superman 3, which was them finally doing their own Superman without Donner having any influence, and it shit the bed to the point where they sold it off. I feel like Canon. I want to say I don't think Canon meant harm. I think Canon meant to do well and tried to do well, but just didn't have the money to do it. And was losing even more money as it went along, to the point where like they had
right.
even less as it went along. And there's a group that had Superman 4, that had Superman 5 planned.
Yeah.
And
Enough that that script has been read, I think, which we talked about last week. Like there was a live read of that Superman 5 script,
yeah,
which would have been the last Christopher Reeve Superman movie had it happened also. But of course, because this movie was so bad,
right.
it didn't make money, which meant the franchise died the this day basically. This movie was so badly received and made so little money, it killed Superman until 2006.
Yeah, I actually am wondering again. I blocked these out. I didn't even consider. We're not covering Supergirl, which was a Salkin production. It did
Uh-huh.
it was in this universe, but it's far enough away. We decided not to torture it. Luckily, we didn't torture ourselves. It would have been Supergirl and Superman 4 back to back. It had Mark McClure in it as Jimmy Olsen, the tie over there. So that was the last Salkin movie with Supergirl, and that's why they had like shit the bed. They were done with Superman after that because it didn't make any money either. But now it just feels like Christopher Reeve was done, but Canon sells it on the fact that they're going to finance his like pet project, which was a movie called Street Smarts or
Which is
Street Smart,
amazing, by the
which is
way.
actually a great film, good film. And we've also got like approval over the story and the director. So that was how you got Christopher Reeve back.
And yet
And
Reeve has said since that Superman 4 was a catastrophe from start to finish, and it was a failure that was so big that it was a huge blow to his career.
I mean, he had a good idea. He pitched the storyline. We're going to focus on nuclear arms race, and because that was definitely a hot topic at the time. The Cold War was full effect during this time period, and in his mind, Superman. That's an interesting storyline. Superman. What does Superman do about the nuclear arms race? And on paper, especially at that time, it makes sense. It's an interesting storyline to tackle. However, the actual script and the actual story that came out of that is just absolute shite on every level. He actually at one point was considered to be the director of Boy. He was thinking about directing it himself as well. And he actually did do some second scenes, whatever, but he just didn't have the experience. Supposedly, Richard Donner claims that Cannon approached him to return, and he basically said no because of a scheduling conflict with Lethal Weapon. I don't know if that's revisionary or if he never wanted to come back. I would bet he didn't want to come back at all. I'm going to guess at the time. But the most interesting thing to me is Wes Craven was actually originally hired to direct this film. Nightmare on Elm Street's Wes Craven, who we have praised tremendously for Nightmare on Elm Street and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and his additions or his input on Nightmare 3. That would have been a phenomenally interesting choice. And I'm not saying it would have been a better film, but I'm saying it would be a better film because it would have been at least more interesting. I feel like he would have at least made it interesting on some level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm going catatonic already. I hope you know that. If I get quiet, it's because I'm legitimately going completely glass-eyed over thinking about the production of this movie, thinking that it actually got filmed, thinking that any of this stuff happened. I legitimately don't think I dislike a movie nearly as much in such a way in any franchise outside of stuff like, A Good Day to Die Hard.
That would make a good comparison, honestly.
Uh-huh.
And I think A Good Day to Die Hard would actually be a better movie still. I think so, honestly. I mean, granted, I just saw this one, so this has burned itself into my brain, and it's been a while since A Good Day to Die Hard. Good Day to Die Hard. But
I would rather watch that.
But I feel like I'd rather watch A Good Day to Die Hard.
What does that tell you, though?
Yeah. So the
What
fact
does
that you're
that
going
tell you?
comic, a film is so bad that PJ can't talk. PJ can't talk about a movie. That is
So that's the funny thing is it's I'm actually a really quiet person when I'm not on, like, mic with you or if I'm
yeah, I
not
get that.
around my friends, like, I'm actually a really quiet person, like, I'm very introverted, and I'm only I keep putting myself in positions that force me to actually talk, probably to the detriment of everyone around us, let's call it what it is, but I keep putting myself in positions that force me to speak out loud.
Mm.
I got nothing, dude, and, it almost feels like a blessing for once. It's nice to not have a lot to say because I was told really early on, if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say it.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I made this. I'm gonna make this solemn vow right now. I am a completist. I have OCD when it comes to completism. When it comes to films, like I start something, I finish it. Right, I go through it. If I start it, I go, oh, I'm gonna watch the super. That's why I started this podcast, man, because it's like all franchises. Like we'll go through every film in a franchise. It actually was even hard for me to say we're not gonna do Supergirl. That was actually a step out for me, like in a way, because I was like, it's technically part of the franchise. We should cover it. I went, no, we're just doing Superman. Okay, I got into it. I will never, barring some kind of something where I'm paid to do it for something, like some other podcast or something, barring that, I will never, ever watch this film again.
This is
Ever.
it, right?
This is it. I am going to like I own it. I believe I own it on like digital, but like I might go so far as to delete it and say, yeah, just wasted money. I'm just gonna delete it from whatever. And I don't want to have it even like I don't want to see the title screen. I don't want to see anything with it. Nothing. Yeah.
I'm gonna say right now too. I I said it last week. I knew we were in trouble when the movie opened
Yeah.
with the credit
Oh,
sequence, right?
the Commodore 64 credits?
Yeah, the Commodore 64 credits
Oh my god,
look
they're
like
awful.
a fucking masterclass compared to the drunken hijinks of whatever's happening with the credits in this one.
This legitimately is like I wanna say
It
a
feels like a
student
spoof.
film it's like a student film gone bad, like, but I think that's an insult to student films. I think, like, any film student could have made a better job of this with, like, a dollar. Like, it just I'm like, this is an actual
Uh-huh.
big budget, quote I know, quote, "big budget," but a big budget, legitimate, like, tentpole type of movie that was released.
It's
And
bad, dude. It's real
I
bad. Like, the way that the credit sequence is done is real bad, and immediately because I had forgotten about it.
It looks like TV. Like it looks worse than like TV. Like we joke around about the CW. Obviously, had their budgetary constraints, and definitely
Sure.
does not look like big screen stuff when it's on the screen, like Smallville and Arrowverse and everything else. But even like that, even doesn't even come close to how legitimately bad this looks.
It's bad, dude.
It's
Like, it's real
bad.
bad. And it's such a it's hard, right? Like,
Mhm.
here's the truth of the matter. We all know that the original movie is a masterpiece, and you can't it's so hard to go up from there, obviously. Like, yes, we're aware of that. I don't anticipate any movie being as good as the
No,
original.
no, I agree. Absolutely
I
agreed.
don't
One
even
hundred percent.
anticipate most movies being as good as the second one.
Right,
Even with doesn't matter which cut. You know what? Like, as far as sequels go, you could be hard pressed to do worse,
right, 100%.
right?
Right,
Or
absolutely.
do
Ours be better. Yeah,
yeah, hard pressed to be better, I mean.
right, right.
You I
I understand.
digress.
No, I completely
But
agree with you
then
on that.
but then, there's no world that I think that a movie can be worse than the 3rd one. And the 3rd one feels, like, innocent in comparison.
Yeah. And it is in comparison. At the end of the day, I look back at this franchise, that is a below average sequel, but it's part of the franchise. It still feels like part of the franchise. Like it feels like, okay, it's Christopher Reeve. He's innocent. He's got some moments in there that harken back to what we loved about Superman 1 and 2. Small bits, absolutely small bits, but they're there. This one, there is nothing about it. Like Christopher Reeve is even. It's not even Christopher Reeve. He's not like phoning it in. He's trying, but there's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can do about it. Like
It's fucking baffling, and I genuinely mean this when I say this. I really, really wish this movie had never happened.
I
I
do too.
wish it for so many reasons, because at the end of the day, this being the last movie that Christopher Reeve starred in as Superman feels like such a slap in the face to the franchise, in a franchise that to this point has been pretty poorly run anyway.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
like, you could forgive a lot of it, right? For studio shenanigans and bullshit or whatever. But the fact that he's also credited as a story person and was so involved in it, it makes it feel so much worse. And I'm not
Mhm.
trying to obviously speak ill of the dead. I love Christopher Reeve. I very much love Christopher Reeve. Like, I find him to be one of the most important individuals who came out of Hollywood for a lot of reasons, especially the
Mhm.
stuff he was doing after he got paralyzed.
Mhm.
So me saying this stuff is not to, besmirch his name or anything, but it's like I just feel like it tarnishes his legacy in so many ways in character.
Yeah. No, I don't. I can't disagree with that at all, and especially because, like you said, he was so involved and he tried, and I don't think. I mean, he's very inexperienced. That's why I didn't get a direct. So he has
Right,
some
and that's
experiences about
probably
him.
better.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's probably better. But it feels like he wanted to do something with it, and he wasn't really allowed because of everything else around him, and he wasn't strong enough to make it work. So I still give him, I don't know, giving him the benefit of the doubt's the wrong word. So I still feel like he's like partially innocent when it comes to it because he's doing his best. And he just has no help around him, not one bit. And he can't do it on his own in any way, shape, or form. I mean, actually, let me just throw something out there. This could have been worse. It has a running time of 90 minutes. There are 45 minutes of deleted scenes that were deleted after a negative test screening.
Yeah.
So, how bad were those 45 minutes? They were
I can't
deleted.
imagine the movie
Yes.
being worse.
I can't either. But this is the footage that didn't make it. This is the footage that did make it. What didn't make it? Like,
I don't know, dude. I don't know, and you gotta Chris Reeves picked his director. I don't know what it is about Sidney
well,
J. Fury.
to be fair, he wanted Ron Howard,
I know.
and I don't know if Ron Howard just declined not to. There's another person who would have been much a better choice and
Ron Howard,
maybe could have
especially back
salvaged it.
then, makes more sense.
He could have salvaged it, I think, at least something out of it. He could have made. He would. I think he would have taken the low budget and knowing it was a low budget and just found a way to make a film with that low budget. Sidney Fury, this director, he's trying to make a grand epic Superman and does not have the money for it at all.
I mean, it's baffling how bad the sequence of Superman flying with Lois is in this movie, where they're trying to recapture that magic from the original movie, and how great it looks in the original movie and how bad it is here.
It is the worst choice for so many reasons. A, you're reminding us again, our main
Oh,
complaint, you're reminding us of a better film, a much better
mhm.
film this time. But it's not only that, because it's not even just a reminder. You're basically trying to carbon copy the scene. You're not going to reach that magic. And the way you do it, it really felt like a fill-in moment. Like we had to throw something in here. Clark's doubting himself. So instead of like going through this whole thing where the whole movie had been, we got to protect ourselves from Lois finding out. Lois does find out. And it's this big dramatic deal. And then he wipes her memory in a way that we still find to be kind of silly and stupid. We forgive it because of the film it's in. We're like, okay, it's fine. This film is not that film. So you decide we're just going to jump off the roof. And Lois is going to like find you afterwards, and all of a sudden, like he's revealing it. Nilly Willy does the thing where it's just this carbon, like basically the Commodore 64 version of the original thing, original sequence. And then you go back, and he just wipes her memory again the same way.
I don't understand.
It's insulting. It's insulting to everybody. It's insulting to Superman. It's insulting to Richard Donner. It's insulting to the audience. I can't even believe
Well, and
Christopher
it's
Reeve.
insulting to Lois, of all people.
Yes.
All because they're trying to create whatever this character, that love interest for Clark that doesn't need to be there.
Why is she even in the movie? I don't even know what she's doing there. You know what? I'm going to give her 1 ounce of minor, like 0.01% credit. And that is this, that the one scene in this movie that I talked about before, PJ, that the one scene that gave it from like a disastrous to a like a disaster of epic proportions to just a disaster of moderate proportion is the hijinks scene. Clark and Superman are double dating Lois and Mariel Hemingway's Warfield character. That is a little amusing on the
It's the only scene worth any sort of note in this movie.
On the back of Christopher Reeve trying so hard. He kind of makes me at least look at the movie and not be like pure hatred. Like I chuckled once at it a little bit. That's it. So that's the reason why she exists, because that's the only even halfway, not even, I can't even say halfway decent, the only like watchable moment in the film. And it's like hijinks from Christopher Reeve. I can watch those. But God, and you know what? I'm gonna say it too. You said it. Margot Kidder feels like she's not in a good place at this point.
Mm-mm.
Like her whole performance is one of phoning it in.
Yep.
Completely. I don't know if it's something going on with her. We know she had a troubled life at times. I don't know. I can't speculate. But even she feels like she doesn't belong in the movie anymore. Like, it just doesn't. Nothing about. I mean, she was in Superman 1, so great. Their chemistry was so beautiful. Superman 2, same thing. Her moments in Superman 3, even though they were so short, or at least like they felt like the same character. This just feels ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's bad, dude.
It's
real bad.
You know who's kind of innocent in this? Like, I don't have any complaint about his performance. Besides Chris Reeve, I guess. I mean, it is what it is.
You're gonna say Hackman.
I'm gonna say Hackman because he is so good that like I can watch him say the worst dialogue. I'd be at least like it's Hackman.
I would give you that if he wasn't surrounded by John Cryer as Lenny.
Oh, John Cryer.
Because John Cryer in this movie. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Every ounce of dialogue all the way to the end is all he does. Or he talks about his drum set, dude. It is so bad.
So cringy.
I hate it, man.
And I like John Cryer.
I do too. But it's bad.
He's a great Lex later on.
Mm-hmm. Funny enough, yeah.
But he just it's starting from the stupidest jailbreak scene I've ever seen. And by the way, how insulting is this music wise? At one point, they use Otis's theme.
Mm-hmm.
Otis isn't even in there. Nice. Like that's like did you not get that concept that wasn't noticed? That was just the comedy. That was like a specific character's like motif. Like that's like. And maybe that sounds stupid to be like angry at, but like it made me angry. I was like,
but I mean, it's not like, look, you watch certain movies, and one of the things I really liked in Dial of Destiny was
there it is. By the way, 23-22.
This is legitimate though.
I know.
I
get it.
I know, like and like that was not me even trying to do the bit, but like one of the things in that movie that's so interesting is that the musical score for his goddaughter in the film has a hint of both his theme and Marion's theme because she is such a mixture of both of them in some capacity.
Yeah.
But it's still Helena's theme.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you have this theme that it also incorporates something else. That is not what this is doing.
No, it's not at all what it's doing. All right, let me I'm gonna go through some of these because we're gonna be I gotta cover the film. We're trying to cover the film, so I gotta move into it. We have the subway scene. The subway heart attack scene.
Yeah.
Why is this in the movie except for is this another we have to show Superman doing something good?
Yes, correct. So that's the thing about this movie. That everything that they do in this is just them trying to go through the beats of doing that.
Paint by numbers, yeah.
And the thing is you can kind of see what Chris Reeve was trying to do. Yeah. He's trying to make it a point that newspapers are important. He's trying to talk about how we need to dismantle nuclear arms. Like all that stuff is really important. No one's going to argue that. I can see why he wants to tell those stories.
Right.
I get what he's trying to do, but because this movie just wants to paint by the numbers and do everything else, none of it works, including the Nuclear Man stuff, which is so terrible.
Oh, we're gonna
And
get that.
here we end up with the version of, instead of it being Chris Reeve voicing over another actor, it's Gene Hackman. And it's bad.
That is so bad. They actually point, at least they like admit it in the theater. Like, the movie like actually comes out and says, "You have my voice."
Yeah.
Thank God. But like, I will say the paper angle, by the way, I got a spark of something okay again in that. In that, I will give Jackie Hooper credit as well. He does a phenomenal job with.
He was a great Perry White.
As a Perry White, his little minor arc is done very well for this, considering. I mean, that's a goddamn masterpiece, Oscar-winning performance, given the story it's in.
Also, I know I brought it up before in one of the other ones, but you could look past that they were shooting in New York for the most part in Superman. Like, you know it's Metropolis. You know it's New York, but they're calling it Metropolis, and you're just kind of accepting it.
Right.
Yeah, this one can't look past it at this point, because you literally use the Statue of Liberty as a weapon. They fly around the Twin Towers again.
Yeah, World Trade Center. Yes. It's like
and the giant shot of Central Park.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, they're just like, oh, and there's Central Park.
I mean, we know Metropolis is New York, basically. That's the concept of Metropolis. However, it's usually treated with such like fantasy kid gloves. Like, it's more of a wink and a nod. This was a slamming the book down on the desk and saying, no, it's not Metropolis anymore. It's just New York City.
Correct. It's baffling. It's just a baffling choice.
And in a better film, I might let it go.
We did.
That's true. No, but even like that was as badly.
But that's my point, right?
Right.
But we did.
Right. Yeah.
It may not be as in your face, but we also let it go because you don't care.
Right.
The problem is that everything else is so incompetent. I now care.
Right.
I can't be forgiving anymore. You know, like, fuck you. It's actually insulting how bad this whole everything is.
Yeah.
And then, like, Clark just gives up being Superman again.
Right.
We're doing this.
Yeah,
again.
He's too sick to do it.
Again. I just don't understand, dude. I don't.
I actually have a note. I don't even remember what it's here for. So I'm kind of I'm skimming. I have it on the background. So I guess I didn't say I'm never going to watch the movie again. So I'm kind of semi-watching it a little bit as I'm talking about it. There's a moment
sorry.
I know. First of all, I'm at the point where Lex is going to steal the hair donated by Superman to the museum, which is holding up about 1,000 pounds, 1,000-pound weight. So how did Superman cut his hair? We don't know. How does they cut it away from the weight? I don't know. I have in my notes somewhere, who is Superman talking to? I don't even know what I'm even saying here, but I have one point. Who is Superman talking to?
Also, I thought all the shit with Krypton was over. I thought we did all that.
Mama Krypton. That's it. I think that's what it is. That's it. I think that's what it was. It was. I got all these Krypton people like, who are you? Like, we got rid of the Fortress of Solitude. Okay, so we have the crystal left, so you can talk to Mother AI one more time, I guess, and then that's what brings Superman back to health later on. But who is the other people there? I don't even know. They don't bother to tell us. It's just random Kryptonian guy that Clark's never seen before, but he's going to trust you because, okay, he's a Kryptonian. Sure.
Well, it's because it's not Marlon Brando. We couldn't afford Marlon Brando.
Right. No way. Absolutely not. That must be, I think that's who I'm talking about, is who is Superman talking to. And that's right before the love scene again, or the flight scene again. Wait. Oh, I forgot one more thing that's bad about the flight scene. Lois actually remembers everything. So he wiped her mind, and mine was wiped, and she still remembers everything and just didn't say anything. That's not how that was portrayed. That's not how that was played.
Nope.
That's a retroactive retro retconning of something that just doesn't make any sense. Like, and it serves absolutely no purpose to retcon it either. It's just a retcon because they wanted to say this line of dialogue, and it's so. Oh God! I mean, I I'd almost say it's a worse retcon than Spider-Man 3 if it was any and if it had any real importance on the story, which it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The one in Spider-Man 3 is worse just because it recontextualizes Peter into a murderer.
Right.
That's so much worse.
Yep. Yes.
Like, legitimately, that's so much worse. He killed the wrong guy. Yeah.
Oh God. So we have this kid who writes to Superman to save them from the nuclear arms race. Okay. Sure. That seems like a good golden age comic book story, right? It seems like, right? And Superman just shows up at the United Nations and comes and says, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. Basically, like telling like the world that he's taking over. It seems like that's an interesting story if it was treated with any kind of legitimacy or like an actual exploration of that. That actually feels like a Snyder story, if anything else, honestly. Yep. But it's like, I don't know what we're doing in this one. Like, what are we doing in this one? Like, I don't know.
I couldn't help but giggle that they're like, someone needs to represent Superman. Who wants to? And literally everyone is like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Oh God.
I don't understand, man. And then he just threatens everyone.
Yep.
I don't know.
And shout out. Not right. What's the opposite of a shout out? I'm embarrassed for you, William.
I'm embarrassed for both of us. This has been going on 32 minutes too long.
William Hookins and Jim Broadbent both appear in this film, and we love both those actors.
Jim Broadbent is almost unrecognizable, by the way.
It really is. I really didn't even realize it until much after the fact.
It was funny. I've seen this movie before. I did not even remember he was in it until I texted you last night.
No, I didn't either. Of course, William Hookins is a very famous genre actor. You might not know the name, but you do know the actor, the character. You've seen him in Star Wars as Porkins. You've seen him as Lieutenant Eckhart in Batman '89. That's the Superior.
You've also seen him in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's the CIA spook who comes to Indy about the Ark of the Covenant.
He was a great Schmodown question.
Yes, he sure was.
For the Geeks division. He was a great Schmodown question. Yeah, speaking of Batman, I find it funny that if you look back at Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman series, and the Tim Burton Batman series, even though Tim Burton was only involved in the first two films, both of them had 4 films. Both of them had kind of the same trajectory. It's kind of funny how it is. They were both the two comic book franchises of their time. Superman, the movie, absolute iconic status, the granddaddy of them all, deserves all the credit in the world. Batman 1989, almost as iconic. I'd probably give the edge to Superman just because it was first, and I just feel like it might have a slight edge as being like the top of the game. But Batman 89, iconic as hell. Superman 2, great film, second sequel, like a sequel to the film. Not quite as good as the first, but definitely has a lot of devoted fans to it. Batman Returns, same thing. Not quite as good as the first one. Has a lot of devoted fans to it, and is definitely a worthy sequel of an iconic film. Superman 3 versus Batman Forever. All of a sudden, we're taking a step down, and people don't really like it as much. Although I think Batman Forever has the edge here. I think Batman Forever has more fans here. And then you get to the 4th films, which are both considered to be like nadirs of the comic book world. But I think I would watch Batman and Robin a billion times before I watch Superman 4.
At least Batman and Robin knows what it is. I'm not saying it's good, but it knows what it is, which is
Okay, so you could recontextualize it as watching a live action like
Adam
make
West.
a Adam West Batman, and you're kind of like, okay, and it's fun, and it does exactly what it's doing. Superman 4 thinks it's Superman 1 still. And it is about as far from Superman 1 as you can get. But I did find it interesting, though. 4 films, same trajectory. It's kind of it's a little eerie when you look at it a little bit deeper. But anyway, back to this travesty.
Oh, God, do we have to?
Nuclear Man. Let's get into Nuclear Man. Oh, my God, Nuclear Man.
But I don't want to get into Nuclear Man. I want Nuclear Man to go away. This might be one of the worst things that's been ever committed to a Superman film. And there's been some really bad stuff committed to a Superman film before.
Like, I get the idea that you want to have a villain that's as powerful as Superman, but you have so many villains in your wheelhouse that you could pull from that would be exciting, interesting, and engaging. But you decide to go with Nuclear Man.
Again, I understand the point. You're almost hammering me over the head with the point, and it's a lot, and not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Again, it kind of redoes the first film or the second film in this way that Lex is getting somebody who is as powerful as Superman to work for him to destroy Superman. I know Zod didn't work for Lex. I'm not dumb, but it's still along those same lines. The brilliant Lex guiding somebody towards Superman to destroy him. And we had another repeat beat again. Lex communicates to Superman with a message that only Superman can hear. Again.
But not just that, we also get a larger, weird version of it because you also have him appearing on a television screen. So you're telling me that no one else in Metropolis looks up and sees this?
No one saw it. No one saw it. I don't know. Maybe it's only visual that Superman can see. I don't know. I cannot defend it. I try to defend almost everything. I try to look for a defense. I always look for a film. Okay, you did something wrong. How could I make that work for me? I can't make this work for me. Especially because it's just a dumb ripoff of what happened in the first film. Almost P for B. Again,
this movie just keeps doing all the stuff that we like badly.
So much worse.
It's just bad, dude. It's not even fun to talk about bad. Again, I wish it actually made me feel anything. But it just makes me feel shame and regret for having watched it.
I'm already, by the way, if you've watched our podcast before, usually we have we have a banter in the beginning of 20 minutes, which we skipped because we were so we break down the film, we talk about our favorite parts, our favorite lines, we get into things, talk about themes. That could be an hour, a lot of fun. And at the end, I kind of go, okay, well, I have a list of notes. I'm just going to run down the notes and stuff that we haven't covered. Usually they're kind of quick bits. I'm basically doing that now already because I'm trying to find something to push. And I do have a few more to talk about that I could kind of briefly mention because we're only 38 minutes in, but I think we're going to end the episode early and I don't mind doing it. This will be our shortest episode by far.
By so much. There's nothing to say.
So let me go through what I have left and then
I want it noted. I told you yesterday that this episode would not be longer than 45 minutes.
You did. And I'm going to get it over 45, but not by much.
I don't know, man.
Line of dialogue. I actually kind of chuckled at.
Okay.
Christopher Reeve as Superman. You've already broken all the rules of man. Now you've gone and broken the rules of nature.
Yeah, that was okay. I'll give it that. I thought that was kind of funny.
It's such a Christopher Reeve. It was such a Christopher Reeve Superman line that I kind of went, there it is. That's the Christopher Reeve I know and love. Okay. Oh my God. The fight with Nuclear Man. I looked away for a second. I don't know. I looked at my phone. I don't know what it was, but there's some kind of wall comes down. I think it might be the Great Wall of China, maybe.
It is.
Potentially.
It's supposed to be the Great Wall of China.
Supposed to be. I
This
couldn't
sequence is
tell
baffling.
because it's cheap. It's a very cheap version of it. Like there's actually a line. There's actually Christopher Reeve mentioned how one of the things that you could tell how bad it was, where like in Superman 1, they would have walked down the streets of New York City with like thousands of
Yeah.
extras and have been big and grand. And this time they're having a speech in front of like this abandoned warehouse with like a handful of extras and some pigeons thrown in the mix. That's the difference. Same thing here. Like it just feels like it's just basically the Great Wall of China is reduced to like basically a wall of concrete, and it gets broken down. And how do we fix it? Superman like shoots some kind of weird beams out of his eyes, and all of a sudden becomes a mason. Just like it basically is turning the world back in time without doing the world going like or to do anything with it. It's just Superman wants it to happen, so Superman's gonna make what?
It's so odd, dude. Again, I don't understand what they were thinking. Also, the whole fight with Nuclear Man when he uses the Statue of Liberty as a weapon is so baffling. It's so baffling. I don't understand.
And okay, Nuclear Man has these like Freddy Krueger nails for some reason. No idea why. Cuts Superman and gives Superman radiation sickness. That's what makes him sick. Not just like for a moment. It makes him sick for like days until Mother AI can give her the last energy of Krypton for what seems like the millionth time. He got scratched and got radiation sickness. Just let that sink in. Okay.
Yeah. It's bad. It makes no sense. Like, I know that we're supposed to take this moment when it happens to be like, oh my God, this thing hurt Superman. But it just looks so bad and so cheesy. And thanks, I hate it.
Okay, so at some point, Lois quits the Daily Planet because they're becoming worse and worse, and they're not only are they a tabloid now because of the whole storyline going on with the Warfields, but then they're also basically becoming J. Jonah Jameson and trashing Superman, but not even trashing him, saying he's dead. And so Lois is like, that's irresponsible journalism. We're like, okay. So she quits and goes to see Clark, and it feels like she's getting her memory back again. That's what it feels like to me again. And I'm like, I had a moment where I literally, okay, you know how we said this movie is so bad, but it's not even funny. There was a moment that I actually legitimately laughed out loud. Nuclear Man and is going after Lacey, right? Lacey Warfield, whatever. And Superman gets in front of him, and Nuclear Man basically says, "If you don't get out of my way or bring her down, I'm going to hurt the people." And then just starts like, and all of a sudden something starts happening, and Superman goes, "No, the people!" Like he just told you he was going to hurt the people, and you're acting surprised that he's doing something to hurt the people. Like word for word line. And I literally laughed out loud at Christopher Reeve so earnestly saying it. And I think part of it is I'm laughing because he's so earnest, and Christopher Reeve is trying so hard with the dialogue that it's just heartbreaking.
He's trying. I'll give him that.
During this fight, it is the worst bits of Superman 2. It is the Richard Lester comedic stuff from Superman 2 fight. And that's the entire fight. It's these little like weird, like I don't even know, like I can't even describe how it's Superman saving like little, I can't even go into it, but they're all like these little silly fight things that feel like they're being cribbed right from Superman 2. And yeah. So Superman tricks the Nuclear Man. They go to the moon, they fight. Superman gets buried, Nuclear Man gets buried, and like I realized that like the idea it hit home there. Nuclear Man gets his power from the sun. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Superman gets his power from the sun. It's Clone of Superman. This makes sense. But taking him away from the sun shuts him down and basically puts him to sleep and makes him unconscious. So you're telling me Superman's powers and the way to win this fight is to basically throw a blanket over the top of him.
Yep.
Just it's like a bird, it's like a parrot. Go to sleep, nuclear man. That's all you had to do.
I can't believe that actually happened.
Like,
I really can't. I can't believe I was watching it last night and I sat there just baffled. What in the world, man?
Another funny bit. Again, this is a Christopher Reeve moment that I know Christopher Reeve put this in. This is definitely a Christopher Reeve like moment where I don't know if it's in the script or not. When Superman gets buried in the moon for a bit, he breaks out of the moon. He comes and he looks at the American flag, which is knocked off kilter. He watches the American flag, takes it, and straightens it back up. And it's supposed to be this like flag waving Superman moment, right?
Right.
And this film, it's just laughable. It's just laughable. I'm honestly having more fun talking to you about it right now than I did watching the movie, by far.
I love that for you.
I know it's not for you, and I
trust me. I wish I was having as much fun with you. At least, again, you know what it is?
It's exasperated fun, though. That's the thing. It's kind of like,
see, I had fun tearing apart Annabelle. I'll have fun tearing apart Halloween 5.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel bad about this movie.
Yeah.
I feel bad for everyone involved. Like I feel like I'm picking on a kid.
I'm going that far. It feels like it's even worse than that. It's like
I just feel like I'm bullying a child, like a kid, and it feels bad.
Like the someone who deserves the least amount of bullying, who's had it the hardest in life. It is absolutely the worst. I just feel heartbroken and sad.
Yeah. No, I just feel bad. And that's the unfortunate truth is I just feel bad. And I want to like this movie. Anytime I watch this movie, I want to like this movie. But there is nothing, not a damn thing about it that works in any capacity that makes me like it. So instead, I want to like Annabelle isn't good. But I hate it so much, and it's almost fun to hate that movie. Because that movie feels incompetent in a different way.
Yep.
I think it comes down to that line about this movie backstabbing Christopher Reeve and how he felt about it. That's why I feel the way that I feel. Yeah. I can't take my personal feelings of how fucked over I feel like everyone ended up making this movie. It doesn't go away.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. I had a few more, but even I have a team on this one. I can't do it anymore. Let's rate it, I guess, on a scale of 1 to 11, because we always trying to go up to 11 here on PLD Projects. PJ, go ahead and just put it out of its misery.
0.5.
Like, I was actually looking at that myself. Like, I said on a scale of 1 to 11, so like 1 was my lowest at this point. But I am going to reinvent the wheel here, like on spur, and agree with you that 0.5, because I can't give it a 0 because I can give nothing a 0.
No,
but I'm sure somebody
give it 0.5 for Christopher Reeve.
I get 0.5 for Christopher Reeve and Jackie Cooper, maybe.
Yeah.
And because we've given 1s before.
Yeah.
I think Nightmare on Elm Street was a 1. I think Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. We both gave a solid 1. This is worse than that.
Yes.
So it's going to establish a new bar. So from now on, instead of rating things from a scale of 1 to 11 here on PLD Projects, we're ranking things on a scale of 0.5 to 11.
There will never be another 0.5.
I can't see a world in which there's another 0.5. I really can't. I can't see it.
No, I mean, look,
because we're not covering the Puppet Master series. So
how dare you? Number one, like even on its worst day, DCU.
Oh God,
no.
Batman
and Robin, no.
Halloween had a couple of real stinkers, and I would watch them 1,000 times before I watched this. Okay.
This is a bad movie. I'm thank you for everyone who watched, but like also I'm sorry. I wish that I actually wanted to talk about this movie more, but I don't. I just have no interest.
No,
This movie hurts me physically and mentally to watch, and I just feel bad about it.
What I feel really bad about now is that I'm hoping this isn't somebody's first time watching our podcast. I always look at that. What if this is the first time someone's watching our podcast, right? I hope this is not your first time watching this podcast, because this is not who we are. This is not at all who we are. We love film. We want to celebrate film in every way, shape, or form. And I really feel bad if this is like your favorite, like you found, you went, Superman 4 is your favorite Superman film, for some reason, and you came here looking to see what we would say about it. I feel bad, and I'm sorry. But I can't not be honest.
Trust me, man. You could go watch us talk about literally any of the other stuff, and you'll see exactly how we are.
Right. This is just
this is not a normal thing. Us being like this is not normal. Me being this, I have nothing to add.
Right.
I'm sad. I'm angry.
I will say, for everyone else who is watching, who are our listeners, our viewers who have been with us for a long time, this actually might be an interesting episode for you. I feel like it's such a different episode for us that like you might go, wow, I have to see them like this just because I have to. It's like almost like you have to watch a car crash. This is like watching this episode is watching a car crash, through no fault of our own. We tried.
Oh, actually, it is completely through the fault of our own. To be fair,
well, yeah, we
tried to get us out of this, and someone said we had to cover it.
We had to. We have to cover it as part of the franchise. I already dictated Supergirl, and that was already hard enough for me to do. So that's it. PJ, if people still do want to find you even after this, where can they find you?
You guys can find me wherever social medias are sold, of course, at PJ_Campbell. Usually Instagram and Blue Sky. I'm really not at the bad place anymore. So, you
can find me at Paul_Denuzio, or I'm sorry, no, just at Paul Denuzio at Blue Sky, because that's where I go nowadays as well. You can also find me all over this channel. PLD Projects is the name. So I am PLD. Got a lot of great podcasts on this channel. We have our Holy Snokes. This is my podcast, weekly podcast with PJ, with Maddie Gunner on Star Wars. I have Review, which is my bi-weekly podcast with Lego, doing the V franchise. And that's actually, you get a lot closer to this on this part, because the 2009 V, especially by the end, is just almost unwatchable as well. But I still watch the 2009 V again 500 times before I watch this. I have a Queen podcast every week. I'm going through the entirety of the Queen catalog, so come back for that. Class Action's a monthly show. We'll put up two things up against each other. Coming up soon in May 12th. We got The Accountant versus The Accountant 2. That's going to be a fun time between Maddie, me, and Richard R. Jarvie. And if you want to join patreon.com/PLD Projects, you get more PJ and me. And it's definitely been more fun, PJ and me. We've been doing our MC rewatch exclusively to Patreon or YouTube membership. They will come on the channel eventually. We're talking probably December before they come on the channel.
And we'll be well into phase 2 at that point if you're part of the Patreon or the YouTube membership.
Like next week we are.
You want to hear us be positive? You really should get on the Patreon, because we're having a grand old time with the MCU right now. We just covered Captain America, the first Avenger, and I couldn't be happier to have talked about a movie.
I don't know if that one doesn't even come out until next week, so that's a surprise for you guys. If you're watching the show today and you're on the Patreon, that's next week's release. We're recording the Avengers next week, so that should be a lot of fun as well.
That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
the conversation around that one is going to be fascinating, because I'll say it now, as much as I do enjoy it, especially the nostalgic, like they pulled it off, they did the thing. I don't like that movie as much as the other Avengers movies. I think it's the weakest by quite a bit, and so it's going to be really interesting to sit down and talk about that one.
Yeah, especially because I definitely do like it a lot, and I haven't rewatched it in a while, so I'm kind of curious if the rewatch is something now that I've had conversations with you about it. But we're going to find out for sure. But I know it's going to be a lot of fun versus other films, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have a conversation on it for sure.
Yeah.
And then in 2 weeks we'll return here on the main channel for Superman Returns, which is a movie PG and I both have been on record as stating we have affection for. So I could see that it's going to be a lot more fun than this one was for us. Even if some people, I know your miles may vary with that film. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. We're definitely going to be far more positive on it. So can't wait to get through that one. That's a real Superman film, at least. Chris Reed, we love you. And, gone too soon. I'm sorry it went out like this, my friend. I'm sorry it went out like this in Superman. So we'll see you next time here on PLD Projects, here on Two Middle-Aged Geeks on Film. And I guess that's it. Peace out.
Mother effers.